He was certainly not deserving of not being a winner tonight, in your opinion.
No, I thought he was fantastic throughout. He was a catalyst for them. He was the driving force. I think, listen, you've got to take the emotion out of the game. And going to the Emirates without Wilfried Zaha, their main player, and to get a draw, I think before the evening starts, you grab that with both hands. But in the fashion it all played out, I mean, it was so disappointing. But he was the best player on the pitch. He set everything off, both in possession, out of possession. He was fantastic. And do you know what? He has been for weeks. It's nothing new. Yeah, I mean, a massive play for Crystal Palace. And he's the one that we said when Wilfried Zaha wasn't playing, we need to look towards Conor Gallagher, and he stepped up to that mark.
It'll come no surprise to tell you that he covered the most ground than any other player tonight.
You know what was really good about it as well is because against, I think it was against Leicester, he got taken off. Jeffrey Schlupp came on to score. I think got taken off after 55 minutes. So you're thinking you need some reaction from him. Just like Glenn said, no Wilfried Zaha. He presses for Palace. He brings an energy and a vibrancy to them that helps them stay up that side, up that end of the field. A fantastic performance from him tonight. And for me, it would have been a man of the match performance easily for him if they won the game, because let's face it, they did deserve to win the game because the way they imposed themselves on Arsenal is what Arsenal should have been doing themselves. They should have been higher up the pitch, trying to close Palace down, playing out the back. Palace were better in every department in respect of playing out from the back, closing down from the front than Arsenal were today. And Arsenal, because they were able to bring off that kind of calibre of quality of player off the bench, nicked an equaliser. Very, very fortunate.
OK, let's hear from the former Arsenal captain, the Palace manager, Patrick Vieira.
Patrick, we saw you fall to your feet when that equaliser went in. How tough was that for you to take?
It was really tough. You know, I was really disappointed to concede the goal at the end, because I think the players, especially in the second half, work well and work really hard, and they deserve it to take those 3 points. So I feel sorry for them today.
What did you like most about that performance?
It's the character and the personality we show. I think in the first 15 minutes it was quite really difficult, and then we managed to get into the game, and in the second half we came back with more desire to compete, and we managed to win the ball quite high, and we scored those 2 goals, and I was really pleased to see the character and the personality that we show in the second half.
Patrick Vieira talking to Dave Jones and Jamie Carragher in the Sky Sports studio in the UK there. You can feel his disappointment, but also, as you rightly say, in the cold light of day, there are steps forward and an identity about his Palace team. Quickly.
Yeah, without doubt. And he said we've got to cut out the small mistakes and we've got to learn. And yes, they have. But when you look at it, and they've lost 4 points in stoppage time, I mean, that rockets them into the top half of the league, and all of a sudden they're a massive success story. So the margins are so fine. And he says there, we can't play well and not win. I think as long as they keep putting those performances in, they will be really good. And like he says, there's much more to come from them.
I think that when you look, when we looked at the first half, when you look at the margins in which they were making errors, last final ball in the right path into the... Once they get that going, and remember, like we say, you have to mention no Wilfried Zaha. Once they get that going, Palace will be able to put teams away a lot more ruthlessly than they did today, and they'll be able to then not so much worry about these 95-minute, like last-minute goals, because they will be. Because if I was looking back at that video showing the guys, I would show them why in these instances the ball has to be in front of him. You have to pass it in a position where he can take a touch and shoot. The ball has to be right, because those are the differences, how you win games. Those are the margins in which you win games. And so I'm sure Patrick will let them know that, because they're not a million miles away, Palace.
Fine margins. Arsenal got a point in the end. Here's their manager. Half
that
trailing.
Point was somewhat of a defeat. How do you regard it? Your substitutions clearly making an impact.
Yeah, at the end, we got a point very late. The game had different phases. We started the game really brave, really good, really dominant. We scored the goal, and after we made a big mistake that we started to defend something, and we stopped playing the way we were playing. We never got control of the game. We gave too many balls away. Our structure wasn't right, and we allowed a lot of moments where we had to defend deeper. and after regaining the ball there as well, we didn't manage to get out and break their press. So at half-time, we changed a few things. We get much better, we started better, and then we gave the ball away again twice. That in this league is going to cost you goals. And then the game is in a really difficult position, but credit to the boys and the crowds that they keep believing, and we kept going. I think the substitutes made a real impact in terms of the energy and quality that they brought to the team, and we managed to get a point at the end.
Does Laka earn himself a start now?
Sorry?
Does Lacazette earn himself a start now?
Well, he certainly gives the right reaction and what you expect from a player that is coming from the bench. He completely changed the energy, not only for the team, but the stadium as well.
Yeah, as you've already said, he made an impact. I suppose, right, even they've not played well, they've got something out of the game, which is a positive. They're 5 unbeaten now.
Yeah, but I think that when you look at, obviously, the start of the season, the 3 losses, then the 3 wins, arguably Norwich and Burnley were games that you'd like to think that Palace can win, but the Tottenham game was very, very encouraging. And then the Brighton game, again, kind of 3 steps forward, 3 steps back. And then you get into a game like this, which you know is going to be tough. Palace, they're very resolute. You know, they've been behind, they've come back, they've done very, very well. And I just think that, like he said there, like I've been saying, once Arsenal stopped doing what they do, and that is close down from the front, play out with confidence from the back, and really impose themselves on a Palace team that, for me, I think he said something right. They'd done better in the second half. Like, they'd never changed. Nothing changed from the first half, and Palace were totally in control of that game. And so you just want to see some progress in the way that Palace, in the way that Arsenal are going to try and win games like that Brighton game where it's not going for them, but they can, in phases, whether it's closing down and winning the ball in the areas, the last third of the pitch, and then you can go at them from a closer area, or, you know, totally dominating the ball and keeping the ball and dragging them out. It's really quite frustrating watching Arsenal at the minute.
So still plenty of questions to be answered.
Absolutely.
Arsenal lead Palace by 1-0. Very watchable first 45 minutes, and it took Arsenal just 8 minutes to go in front. Aubameyang's 6th of the season. And how difficult a finish was this in the end, do you think?
Well, he made it look very easy because he had to react to it. It's good play for Arsenal, kept the ball going. Nice little 1-2. And then from here, you know, he does well at the back post. So that's just reaction and knowing exactly where the goal is. It's a fantastic goal, to be honest. Really good goal.
I think this is the best angle of it, actually, because it makes you appreciate how far he is outside the post. I mean, he's a good 8 foot there. He's done well to steer that ball back into... I know the goal's unprotected, but it's still a very good finish.
Super finish.
Could Palace have done more to prevent it, Wrighty?
I think so. I think when you look at when it comes out, you've got a forward and a right-sided right back coming out to it. I think here, got to show him down on the right side. Pepe doesn't want to go down there. He doesn't do many.
I know the goal's unprotected, but it's still a very good finish.
Super finish.
Could Palace have done more to prevent it, Wrighty?
I think so. I think when you look at when it comes out, you've got a forward and a right-sided right back coming out to it. I think here, got to show him down on the right side. Pepe doesn't want to go down there. He doesn't do many crosses down there.
Yeah, I mean, he's just too eager. And as soon as he watches the ball without touching the man, he just gives Pepe that space to get beyond. And then all of a sudden, I mean, it just happens. But it's centre forward closing down that, isn't it?
That's what it is. He's just too eager. It's just gone in.
Because at one point, there's no danger there.
No.
If he doesn't rush in, then the situation's under control.
Palace's reaction's been excellent. Could they have had a penalty in that first half?
Possibly, yeah. It just passed us by, didn't it, in the studio a little bit. And I feel as though if Tierney's not here to tidy this up, I think it's looked at a little bit more clearly, let's say, because Partey sort of does block him. I mean, Benteke's making an effort to get to the ball, and Partey just...
When you look at it here, it looks like he's being closed off, without a doubt, Partey. I think.
Is it in the seen them given bracket?
I think that they should have looked at that and seen that there's more in that than they've seen. For me, I think that they could have easily been a penalty,
but perhaps not clear and obvious to overturn.
Like I say, I think if Tierney's not there cleaning it up, I think we look at it in a different light. But when he's there, I don't think we give it the possibly respect it deserves to be a penalty. Overall, what have you made of Palace since going behind? Well, I mean, obviously Arsenal started with a bang, got a goal, and then after that, it's been all Palace. I think their reaction's been absolutely superb. They've got into good positions, but they've just been really wasteful, haven't they? They've been wasteful, but I think that what Arsenal have done, instead of getting themselves on the front foot, trying to stop them at source, they're waiting for Palace to make mistakes,
and they're getting deeper, and Palace are building themselves more in the game. And like Glenn said, I think that their final ball and their last it's been very, very wasteful. Very wasteful.
Had a great chance right on the stroke of half-time with Conor Gallagher. Terrific save this, actually.
Beautiful strike.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, he's took it on from a long way out. It's a brilliant effort. And it just dips over Tommy's head there, Tommy Yasu's head. And look at his position in Ramsdale here. It's a great save because after he's gone for the ball there in the middle, you see him come out
this
here
is
and
the one with the bodies, Glenn, look.
To get across there.
You see him there, you see him having to look up. He's looking over the top of people to see where the strike was, and for him to get across, brilliant save.
That's the difference this year, is it not, Wrighty? Things like that.
Yeah.
The way they're playing defensively and him pulling saves out like that, I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Palace have plenty of positives to be chatting about at the moment.
If anything, disappointment that they're not back in the game. Like we said, they've been so wasteful. They got in great positions. Edouard, I mean, they were singing his praises there, but I felt as though he had a number of opportunities to put teammates in good positions and just fluffed it at the wrong time. I mean, we play 45 minutes there and we see Conor Gallagher with the best chance of the game, really. I mean, they got a free kick out on the right, good position. You got your big men up, hit the first man, poor attacking play.
Relief for Arsenal, but again, questions to be answered.
Yeah, it was really strange listening to Mikel's interview there because he said that he changed a couple of things and they got better in the second half. I didn't see it. I thought Sambi Lokonga, I didn't think that he played as well as we maybe seen him play. You know, I don't think he passed the ball quick enough. In the end, he was at fault to give the ball away for the second goal. But Lacazette obviously came on, and as I thought, he made a difference. But I can't see anywhere in that game apart from the start where Arsenal started pretty well. Then they stopped doing what they said. Lacazette said it. Manager said it. They stopped doing what they do, and you can't do that, especially against a Palace side that have been rejuvenated with the way that they're being coached at the moment. You can see how well they're being coached. They're so organised. And I find that when Arsenal play against a team like we saw with Brighton, who are organised and press, they don't seem to be able to create that chance and create the chances to score goals to cause that team problems. And it happened again today.
And talking of pressing, Conor Gallagher, may not be surprised, covered more ground than any other player tonight. Describe his overall performance this evening, Glenn.
Infectious is the best word I can use. Just in possession, out of possession, you can see him close. Just an eagerness to play football. He looks like a young lad just enjoying his football. He fights for every ball, whether it's in his favour or out of his favour. But we see him here, a brilliant shot there. I mean, what a fantastic save from the Arsenal goalkeeper. Here, again, pressing, harrying, hassling, finding the right pass. Again, leading the press. He's the first Crystal Palace player to start that press, wins the ball, gets it on it, starts an attack, plays it into Elise, who finds Edouard to score Crystal Palace's second goal. But it all starts, and everything, basically, the whole night went through and started from Conor Gallagher. And just, he was a catalyst for Crystal Palace on that.
They have to make that signing, Glenn. I think that he's somebody, and they deserve to win that, even without Wilfried Zaha. Again, who looks rejuvenated by Patrick and the tactics. They look very excited about the fact that the way Patrick's got them playing. And you have to say that if they can add Conor Gallagher to what they're doing, then the future definitely looks bright for them.
Yeah, they've definitely got him for the rest of the season, at least. Now, big talking point at 1-0 to Arsenal in the first half was this: James McArthur and Bukayo Saka, righty?
Absolutely a sending off. No doubt in my mind that that's a sending off. You know, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to act like, oh, he didn't notice that the ball wasn't coming down. But when we look at it, not even this angle, but the next angle, look, he's kicked the ball there and there's no hesitation. He doesn't pull his leg out. He's acting like, this is the angle. Now, once he touches the ball here, he can see that. Why doesn't he pull out of that? That's a sending off. That's violent conduct. So why did the VAR, why did the referee VAR not see that? That's a massive, massive miss.
I think it's really hard to defend James McArthur. I think on the first viewing, it seemed like it coming together, but like Wright touched on there, I think it was an old pro knowing that he could sort of get away with one. Saka wins it high up, and I think the disappointing thing is the force that he went through. He wins it a second or so before, but the force he goes through the challenge with, I just don't think you can defend him, and I think it is probably a red card. And why VAR haven't picked up on that, I don't know. Let's
concur with the former Premier League referee, Dermot Gallagher. Peter Banks was the man in VAR. He's had a good old look at that. Dermot, how's he come up with the yellow card?
All I would say is I'm in the same camp as Wright and Glenn. I think the more times you see it, the worse it looks for me. But, you know, once Saka clears that ball, you see him clear the ball here. I think the fact that, as both the guys alluded to, he just doesn't pull out. He just goes straight through with it. I mean, he's just given him a right good whack is the best way to describe it. And he doesn't have to do that, I don't think. But what I would say is, to stop on the field, in my view, he's extremely lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those that obviously you can't look back and do anything about it. But I literally, when you look at where the referee is standing, how can he not say, can you have a look at that at least? When you look at where the referee is, you look at where the referee's got an unbelievable view of it. Look at it. Look at that. Look. I don't know what he hasn't seen there himself to say, you want to have a look at that. It's just such a poor decision. So inconsistent. It's terrible, terrible decision. I just hope that Saka's not too bad. He's not too injured, because this should be punished. Look at that. Absolutely.
I think, Righty, the other thing, when looking at that, bearing in mind that Saka doesn't know that McArthur's coming, so you can't say he's made the most of it, if you like. He's not aware of what's going to happen now. I think the fact that how he lands and the way he goes down shows you the force that's behind it.
That's a horrible kick, that was.
OK, Damon, thank you very much indeed. Overall, under Patrick Vieira, a lot of positivity around Crystal Palace.
Massive positivity. I think if he mentioned in his interview that if you can eradicate those mistakes, tiny little mistakes, we've seen them. I think this is the 4th point they've dropped from winning positions in extra time. I mean, those margins are so fine, but those 4 points would propel them into the top half of the league, and it's a success story if they're in the top half of the league. But listen, it's a working project, and I think he's doing an absolutely fantastic job.
And a great